I think there's a lot of uncertainty, which is why we called it out in our statement, our post-meeting statement, as a risk. It's we follow the same experts, and we talk privately to the same experts that everyone else does, and read the same articles in the paper and the same research. And so you mentioned the early assessment is highly transmissible, perhaps not as severe, some continuing protection from existing vaccines and also existing immunity from having had the disease. That's a first draft. We're a long way from knowing what it will turn out to be. It may well come to the United States and replace Delta as the dominant variant fairly quickly. That could easily happen. I think there's another step there, though, which is what's going to be the effect on the economy, and that will depend, on how much it suppresses demand as opposed to suppressing supply. It is not clear how big the effects would be on either inflation or growth or hiring, on top of what's already going on, which is quite a strong, wave of Delta that's hitting large parts of the country across the northern United States and all the way to the eastern seaboard, and now coming down. We're having quite a wave of Delta. So coming in on top of that, again, it's very difficult to say what the economic effects would be. I do think wave upon wave, people are learning to live with this. More and more people are getting vaccinated. So people who get the new variant, it affects them much less than it tends to affect in the aggregate people who are not vaccinated. So the more people get vaccinated, the less the economic effect. It doesn't mean it won't have an economic effect. Delta had an effect of slowing down hiring, and it actually it had an effect on global supply chains, and that sort of that hurt the process of the global supply chains getting worked out. So it can have an economic effect. I just think at this point we don't know much. We'll know a whole lot more in 3 weeks, and we'll know more than that in 6 weeks.
But if I could follow up, you're clearly from a risk standpoint comfortable putting away one of your tools pretty soon, which sort of implies that whatever Omicron brings, you're comfortable the economy can handle it without quantitative easing.
Yes. I think if you look at the state of the economy and the strength of demand, the strength of just overall demand, the strength of demand for labor, look at inflation, look at wages. I think moving forward the end of our taper by a few months is really an appropriate thing to do, and I think really Omicron doesn't really have much to do with that.